Hello everyone, I got a new video for you today. I've got my glasses and my hat on because as you can see the flies are horrible right now and I don't want to put on bug spray. Otherwise they'd be landing right in my eyes and they're going to try and land on my nose and mouth sometimes too. It's really annoying. I'm just going to do a garden walk around. I'm going to bring you inside, show you what plants I have indoors, and then I'm going to take you upstairs and show you what's going on in the grow room. So without further ado, let's get at it. So we're gonna start off strong. Right here we've got some rhubarb. There's a rose of Sharon. That's a double flowered. I believe it's a pink rose of Sharon. There's a little bit of dead wood that I might have to cut off, but I left it. Oh, and it's finally blooming. So I was gonna cut this off, but I wanted to leave it just to make sure that it wasn't a portion of the plant that's just a little late, and it actually happened to be exactly that. So that'll end up bushing out and filling it out more. There's no reason to cut that off. I think giving it a little bit of extra water might help. Right along here we've got some crocuses. I think they've migrated their way over from the neighbors, along with a couple other plants like sweet woodruff right there, which is really cool. I need to go through here and do a quick weeding to take out the shamrock. A lot of people call this clover, but it's actually called shamrock. There's a purple variety called purple shamrock as well. If you see anything like this, these are poppies. There's a couple dandelions. So I'm starting to build quite the violet collection along the back. I'm gonna try and fill up this area with violets all around the lavender right here. The lavender is about to go into flower. I'm not sure if it's anything too crazy, but it's filled right out since it was originally cut back to next to nothing. It's probably just a small portion of what it is now. But when you cut that back, you can save all the plant material and dry it, and then you can use it for, if you have a distiller, you could use it for essential oil production, but it's most commonly used in like herbes de Provenance in French cooking. So right here are some gladiolus. I've planted a few along here. I think there might even be another one somewhere around here, but those are gonna come up with giant flower spikes, and they're just gonna kind of accentuate this area, giving it a little more height, because it's, as you can see, there's a little bit of height on either side with the rhubarb and the plants, but nothing really in the middle. So, cool thing about the rhubarb, not only are the leaves absolutely massive, I got big hands too, I'd like to think. It's flowering. Looks like there's some kind of bug in there. Maybe a pollinator. Ooh, so cool. I've never had that happen before. And it's just a big plant, as you can see. Here's a wild geranium that I just left because I actually really like the flowers, and I hope my neighbor doesn't mind. I think they're really pretty just in the stones like that, so I might try and, you know, get them all throughout here cohesively, so it's like a little wild geranium patch. It just fills up the stone nicely. I'll double check with the neighbor to make sure he's okay with that. And then I planted this is a I think they call it Cabernet Splash blueberry. The soil's really acidic here, so I decided to put it here. It doesn't get a lot of sun, so that's going to be the biggest issue, but hopefully it gets enough sunlight and enough just you know, ambient light in here that it's able to produce a couple berries, and I'll be happy. More so that I would like it to fill in this area a bit more, but we'll see. And then right there is some sweetgrass. If you cut it, it smells really, really nice, and then you dry it and it makes that braided sweetgrass. Whenever the lawnmower goes over it or the weed whacker hits it, it smells really good. So I've replaced this tree now with the one from the garden. It was doing really well, but The reason why the first one died is Theo comes out here and marks his territory on it every single day. And I'm like, yeah, well, maybe that one was just, you know, a little too much fertilizer. Who knows? So I put in another one, and within a couple days it started to yellow. So this spot's way too fertile. I'm gonna need to find something that's a super heavy feeder to put there, or just take out the tree in general, or even just leave it there for him to have a spot to mark. Yeah. Also, I'm gonna save all the seed from this. This is called forget-me-nots. If the inside of the flower is yellow, it needs to be pollinated. If the inside of the flower is white, it's already been pollinated. It's really noticeable on the, I guess it's noticeable on all of them, but each one of these is a little seed pod, and they contain a few seeds each. So when I rip these out, along with all of those, I'll have a bunch of forget-me-not seeds. The comfrey's in flower. It's probably going to need to be cut back just a bit. Once it's done flowering and it starts to put out the seed heads, I like to cut it right back to the ground and throw that in the compost. And then it starts its whole cycle over again. You can get to flower a couple times a year like that, if I'm not mistaken. I've got a bunch of poppies all throughout here. I just threw poppy seed all over just because I really like the look of poppies. Rosa Sharon with a really nice form, growing nicely. It's just to cover the shed a bit, give it kind of its own distinct area, to make it feel like when you look back here, it's not just an old shed, if you will. You'll see a little bit of life around it, and it just makes it a little more welcoming and give it almost like a little cottage feel. So these berries, every single year, I'm thinking of ripping these bushes out. They get just attacked to nothing by these worms. I'll see if I can find some. They're like some kind of caterpillar, and I'm sure I could just spray them with BTK and take care of them, but I'd rather have something that's natural, that belongs here, that doesn't really get bothered by pests too much. In your own yard, sweetie. Come in. In your own yard. Good girl. Here's a sapling that I saved. And then we're gonna see how this goes. Here's another sapling of a maple. Here's some Alaskan mix variegated nasturtiums. A cactus that has a fungal infection that I'm not really fond of, so I'm just letting it do its thing. This is variegated periwinkle. It's spreading right now. Sugar daddy peas, a little bit of variegated thyme, and then there's regular thyme over there. And then this is all yarrow that's about to go to flower. So yarrow and comfrey. Oh, sorry, man. Just bumped into her. You okay, sweetie? So yarrow and comfrey and stinging nettle are all bioaccumulators, so they put down a good taproot system, and they uptake nutrients, and basically they keep it in their leaves, so when you cut them down and then add them to things like compost, they each add their own individual N, P, or K. I think that's the plant I cut right back. It looks like there might be life in it, so I'm just leaving it, letting it do its thing. All the cactus are starting to put out pads, so they're gonna fill right out. And then the stone crop's starting to flower. These cactus are the Opuntia, like the eastern prickly pear cactus with the really nice flowers. These ones are going to a client. I'm gonna be putting them in the ground right next to like basically a health strip on the side of her house. Gets barely any rain, barely any love, all sunshine, 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 really poor soil. Can barely grow anything in there except Portulacaria. So I'm gonna put these bad boys in. They're gonna fill right out. They're gonna continue to grow kind of like this. and they'll just sprawl right out, fill out the area. And then also because they flower, what that'll do is the flowers will actually produce seeds, like true seeds, and they'll produce seedlings. And those seedlings will actually fill up the area really nicely and give for a nice full little cactus garden feel. Quit eating grass. Quit eating grass. You're choking and you're eating grass. So that's what the flowers look like. They're like little yellow stars, and they're gonna open all throughout here. I stuck a bunch in here just so that it would look real nice. Theo, stop. Stop eating grass. Come on, inside. This is about to flower too. Cactus is growing bigger. We've got another one down here, another one right there. And this is another catnip. It's I think 1 or 2 years old. That's why it's a little bit bigger. And I have some more catnip along here. And that's just to kind of fill in and give it a little more height there. One of the chives are, pardon me, one of the chives are hiding. There's some Jerusalem artichoke grown in here. This is some lamb's ear, a little bit of gladiolus all throughout. I did a row. This is hollyhock. I actually got a new variety of hollyhock. This one's a pink flowered one, so I'm really excited about that. This one's a dark flower, if I'm not mistaken. It's gonna complement the smoke bush that I put in nicely. And then I put in a little bit of creeping Jenny. It got kind of dry, so it's a little toasty. That's just gonna fill in as a ground cover and not really conflict too much with the poppies that I end up planting. And that's these guys you see. They're already starting to go to flower. You'll probably do good to thin some of these out, but for now, I'm just gonna leave them the way that they are. These are the crocuses, and they're on their way out. So what happens is in maybe a week, these are gonna die right off, straight to the ground. I can just like pull all the leaf material away. And then I think it's at the end of summer, the beginning of fall, they'll just put out a bunch of little flowers. Not little flowers, like crocus flowers. I suppose they're little in hindsight, but. And right here, I wish I had a better video, but this is an allium. It's like a purple flower. It's in the onion family. It's really nice. The thing I don't really particularly like about it is the leaves start to die off while the flower's going. So it looks nice, but I'm realizing that it's probably a plant that's going to be better to put in the back somewhere. So when the leaves are dying, the flower's still sticking up because it's way above all the foliage, right? We could put a couple plants like, you know, catnip or something in front of it as like a little blocker. And hopefully it should get enough light that it's still able to photosynthesize effectively, and it'll be able to spread and make more bulbs and be happy. I put stone crab in little patches around here. And then these are all poppies that definitely need to be thinned out. But we're gonna wait for the biggest ones, or just let them go wild. Here's some more stone crop. It puts out the exact same flowers. This one's like extra variegated. Maybe I might cut that off and try and propagate that. Have my own variety. That was actually the reason why I got this one, was because it had this on it when I first got it. That was last year, so it's holding on to it. Clearly, maybe it's not stable, but maybe it is. So I'm gonna cut these off and try and propagate my own version. Right here is a peony with another peony right there. These are dianthus. They have really nice smelling flowers, and this is a white variety. It's really pretty. Yeah, you can see some yucca here, which I'm probably potentially gonna take out just because of how yucca grows. There's another, so here's a variegated stone crop, also known as sedum. This is one of those crocuses again. I need to go through here and do a weeding, take out all the grass by the root. More gladiolus here. Dusty Miller. All the tulips are pretty much done, so we're just gonna wait for those to die back and do their thing. I'm kind of surprised that the nasturtiums, they hold on to the foliage for a real long time after they're all spent, which is kind of cool. So they don't look horrible right away like some of the other ones. Like these tulips that never got a chance to put out their flowers. These ones, they look like crap. You just go along and pull them out when they're ready. If they don't yield to gentle pull, don't yank on them. They're still taking nutrients out of the leaf. So yeah, next year, every year this garden's gonna get crazier and crazier. So some things are gonna have to be taken out, things are gonna have to be put in, rearranged, but we're gonna make it work. Here's a variegated. This is a bougainvillea. A little bit of dead foliage. Juicy pineapple is the name of it. It's a variegated pineapple. Quite a lot bigger than my sugarloaf, which doesn't seem to be well rooted. Yeah, little critters keep burying bird seed and shit in my pots. So I don't put bird seed out anymore because of it. Ananas. Juicy. So here's a fig. I brought it outside, and as you can see, it's dropped all of its leaves. I think maybe it got too dry. It feels okay. I should probably give it a good soak. Yeah, and then we'll see what happens. These are variegated citrus. They're called pink lemons. They look happy. They're starting to put out a little bit of growth. I just transplanted them actually, so the fact that they're pushing out some new growth already is really nice. Turn it around so it fills out a bit more. And then that's a key lime, I think. So the lime in one of these, the citrus, are from my buddy Mike. Here's a variegated Brookmansia. I think this is some sunburn. So just take off the leaves. We're not gonna rip them off. They just yield to gentle pressure. See, like I barely tap that one. That one's not ready to go. And don't worry, this thing, it'll look shabby for about a couple minutes, and then literally in like 3 days, this thing's gonna fill right out and look beautiful. The hotter and sunnier it gets, the more that it grows, as long as you keep it watered. And we got a little bit of sunburn on here. Oh, that's not good. So it's not a whole lot if you actually look on the overall of the tree. I'm not really worried about it. All these are old branches anyhow, old leaves. I was gonna do a tip prune soon, and that's basically just gonna stimulate this to branch out more. I might have to selectively cut back some branches just to give it a better shape. But for now, I think I'm pretty happy with it acclimating outside. I'm gonna give everything 2 weeks just to make sure it's nice nice and comfortable outside, and then I'm gonna start working on my plants, give them good feed. Right now I'm just making sure that they're happy and healthy. I don't want to stimulate growth too much. I just want them to get comfortable with their environment. And then we're starting to get new tips out of here. Same thing. Everything that's been covered a bit, like the guava for instance, it has really, really nice foliage still. This is evergreen, so you don't want to lose the foliage as much. All of this stuff that's toast isn't so good. This is not preferable on this plant at all, but this is kind of a rush job. I had them on the deck here, but I have landlords who live at the back, so I didn't want to keep that on the deck for too long, just because I didn't want to inconvenience anybody and have them walking around a plant. Here's a little arrangement I did. This guy helped me pick out the plants. These are all coleus, I think is what it's called. And yeah, so these are like all tropicals. These ivies will survive here, so I gotta make sure that they don't trail into the ground or anything. And the creeping jenny is what I also put in the garden. There's a little bit of sun damage on these leaves, just a tad bit, nothing crazy. I hope it looks nice when it starts to grow out. I think it looks pretty already. A row of daylily. Some kind of daisy, the fleabane daisy maybe. Some goldenrod. Clear it up a bit. And these are all black raspberries, which are really, really tasty. The flowers already starting to open. Then right under it, we've got some Virginia waterleaf, which is with these flowers. That's nice. They all attract the pollinators at the same time. So you've got some pollinators down here and some pollinators up here. The spiderwort is in bloom. Another patch right there on the neighbor's side. That's really pretty. It's also called Transcendia, I think, or Tillandsia, like the Wandering Jew, I think is what the name is, the common name. Not particularly a fan of that, but I suppose if you're anti-Semitic, you might like that name. Rhubarb. This one gets full sun. I notice it doesn't really do as well as the one that gets to a little more shade for some reason. A little bit of strawberries. And then this is a bearded iris, a variegated bearded iris. You can see that it's going to bloom multiple times. So once the top bloom's spent, it puts out another one. And when that one's spent, it puts out another one. Super, super beautiful plant. I split this and put two at Sky's Mums. So they'll basically spread just like this. And they slowly fill out the area. It's one of my favorite plants. I got that from my mom a long time ago. It's super slow growing, but probably due to the fact that it doesn't get as much love as some of the other plants. And it's variegated. So all these strawberries that end up growing on here pretty much just go right to the bunnies. Yeah, there's no competing with them. I just gotta make sure that the runners don't go over to the neighbor's side, because I don't want to tick him off at all. Not that he would be, but you know, he's a pretty friendly chap. really nice guy, but the runners, they just find a way, you know, over the fence. They'll go through the bars and stuff, and I'm sure it's probably a little bit irritating. So I might consider moving those just to nip the problem in the bud. Have a little bit of a low spot here, a little bit of a low spot here. I'm thinking about splitting these and doing a row all the way down here just to fill up this area a little bit more if the neighbor's okay with that. If he doesn't want that, I'm gonna rip out the daylilies entirely and then fill in the area with more soil. So the two hostas that were on either side, I just split and put in a row here. They're slowly gonna fill out, and then it'll be a nice thick row of hosta. They should hopefully flower at the same time. It'll look really pretty. And then here's some more Virginia waterleaf in full bloom. That's an Ontario native. The bees love it. Yeah, so I think, oh, I got one more. This is about to flower. For instance, this one's about to open. It doesn't look like any of them are open yet. And I'm gonna give you the name tag for that. Beautiful. Okay, I'll meet you on the inside. We're gonna start off with these window plants. There's a Scindopsis, I think is what it's called. Variegated lucky bamboo. I think it's called like a bear paw plant, and a rice plant, or rice cactus, or Rhipsalis something or other, a cocoon plant, and a little kitty. And a couple oven mitt. This is Tillandsia also, I think. That's just rooting in some water. Theodore's really excited about this video, he says. Are you excited? Yes, he's excited. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Yeah. So is Octavia. Hey. Oh, get out of here. Oh, she likes that. Hey, man. Okay, so in the window, I don't know the variety name on these. Look at that. She gone. So, I think this is Pothos and Joy. This one is maybe Snow Queen. I really like both of them. They just kind of hang down. Don't need much love. You water them like even once every other week. Probably not advisable. You should probably water them a little bit more than that, but you can get away with it. They're probably due for a feeding because I see a lot of yellowing leaves. Up here, we've got a staghorn fern, I believe is what it's called. I'm gonna get a wall mount for this eventually, but for now, it's okay where it is. I really think that's gonna be a fun project to do, wall mounting, I mean. And then in the future, I might get more, but it looks like there's at least 2 in here. Probably gonna put them together just to have a more full plant. The foliage and the growth habit on it is just quite cool. It's really something. You know, nice thick leaves. That silvery color, that almost sheen on it. Love it. And then this is a beaut. This is a lemon cypress. It's a common nursery plant. It smells very, very good. You brush up the foliage and give it a smell. It smells like lemon and citronella almost, to me. Like a good mix between lemon and citronella. Not quite like leaning all the way towards citronella like a lemon thyme, but a lot more of a good mix. We've got some, I think these are called aglaonomas. They're in the same family as the tricolor pictum. They need bigger pots. I think these are the pots we originally bought them in like almost a year ago, and we just kept them in a cup in the bathroom, pouring out our old water bottles into them. So they're definitely not given a whole lot of love. If anything, they're quite brutally neglected. So just goes to show that if you don't really want to, you know, give a plant some love, I would pick up some of these guys. They're really, really hardy. And then we've got, hiding in the back, another wandering Jew plant. And then I believe this is also in the same family. There's probably a purple passion plant hiding in there, which is this guy. And then the Monstera deliciosa with a couple new fresh leaves. It's nice and full. I like that it's encompassing this area. You see, this is a nice fresh new leaf. Here's a nice new fresh leaf. Here's a new one. So you can see quite clearly this one has no fenestrations, which are the holes in the leaves. That would indicate that this is actually, in age, a younger leaf. It might be the same age technically, but there's no fenestrations in there, which is also kind of odd because there's one in that one. So I'm gonna give this a nice heavy feed, nothing crazy, just a regular dose. And during the next watering, I believe that should be enough to kick it back into shape. I don't know why it has these peculiar ribbing going on instead of like the more like umbrella shape, like that fan, nice and uniform shape. Like this is, looks like a fork. Doesn't look good. Looks like a rib cage. So hopefully that's nothing bad. She's got the zoomies right now. Over here we've got a snake plant. It's pushing out a new pup, which I love to see. So that'll fill out the pot a little. That'll fill out the pot a little more nicely. Basically just filling out this area right here. We've got some regular lucky bamboo. It just grows and grows. Just make sure that has some water to hang out in and it's nice and happy. Right here is the variegated Ficus Benjamin. It grows quite nice. This one has a few plants in there, so when it grows a little bit bigger, I'm gonna split it up into individual pots. And I'm gonna try and grow one out into a full-size tree, maybe another one into a bush, just to see how that goes. And here's a pothos. This is the pothos from Sky's grandparents, so it's really, really special. Has some variegation on it. Randomly, it just puts out variegation, which is kind of cool. It's usually all green, but it does occasionally spit out some variegation. And then in here, this is a, I think it's called a Taniki Ficus elastica. I think it's a Taniki. There's two that look strikingly similar. I think the Taniki is the tricolor one with like the slight purple pink hue. And then there's another one that doesn't have that at all. There's no like additional hue. It's literally like this color when it first emerges, which is kind of nice. Got a stone crop in here. All the plants that are in here. Oh yeah, a Kerhart Hoya. That's just a rooted Kerhart Hoya. It's never gonna grow into a nice long Hoya. It'll just always be a leaf until it dies. It's kind of depressing, but if you like the look of a heart plant, I suppose it's kind of cute. And in here, yeah, the stone crop. Kind of neato. Okay, on to upstairs. All right, please mind the mess, everyone. I've got to do a deep clean. I'll probably get to that later on today, maybe tomorrow. So a couple new cactus I bought. They're the Areocarpus genus. This one has a pup. I didn't even see the pup when I bought it. I got it because it looked the busiest on top. They all have slightly different form because they're all seed grown. This is Areocarpus R, I believe. On its own roots. Slight damage on that leaf, but it'll outgrow that. Zanzibar gem, also known as the ZZ plant. Here's a peace lily. This one is a domino is the name of it because it has the variegation. So this one pushed out 2 leaves in no time. I'm not sure why that is. But that's the Philodendron Pink Princess. I'm going to be giving that away at 100 subscribers. Couple variegated plants. These ones drink a lot, so I have them in a tray. I'm going to repot these with some variegated thyme and have like a little variegated herb garden in a pot just to have something cute. Just to water. That's my brother's orchid cactus. We've got a couple, those are Portulaca. These are holiday cactus. A prism or a gob cactus are these two. Some peyote. This one needs some water. Aztecium valdezii, I think. Variegated Lophophora williamsi, Chaospitosa, or Chaospitosa variegata. A woolly torch, propeller plant. Some Crassula falcatus. Green on green variegated monstera. You won't be able to see any variegation on the leaf at all right away. So the thing that sucks about these is if you're gonna have a leaf with variegation, this is the newest leaf I put out, not a crazy amount of variegation. So it's getting weaker. I might have to cut it and encourage it to grow out at a lower point. Not necessarily the worst thing in the world because it should still push out nice variegation like that. I'll be able to keep it, but basically having this plant is definitely worth it. It's going to be a money maker. There's not too many of these, although there's enough of them around where you have a good chance of finding them because, like I said, this the foliage comes out like that, so if you buy a really young one, there's a chance that, yeah, you might just end up getting a plant that turns out like this. The nice green on green foliage. The leaves need a good wipe. These can use some water. Orchids, and then some miniature African violet can use some water. These are rooting. Here's a peyote with a pup, and then a variegated San Pedro cactus. And this is mine. You can tell, judging by the color, it needs some water. It's not as lush green as it's supposed to be, and because it's pushing out growth, it's a good idea to give it some good water to continue to give it that nice growth. Some Dr. Doom's food grade diatomaceous earth. I put it in here. Not sure that it actually needs it, but if any flying insects just happen to walk into that dirt, they'll die. This one can handle it. I don't really want to put it on anything else. These are the same cactus. I was gonna give this one to my brother, but he said hell no. He doesn't want a spiky cactus, which I don't blame him. And this is the Hoya, the variegated Hindu rope Hoya. This is originally grown from a section like this big, a cutting. So, feels good. Hopefully, if I put it in a bigger pot, maybe it'll fill out more and grow better. Anybody has tips for Hoyas, let me know. Thai constellation. Looking really beautiful. Not sure why these look so green, but not an issue. It looks like it's about to start pushing out another leaf soon. Hopefully that one comes out this way. We'll have a nice, more of a full looking plant. Beautiful. So I think that concludes the video. That's everything over here. We're gonna do another video soon, showing off the garden at Sky's mom's house. That's where we do like a lot of our vegetables. I'm working on a garden in the front and the back. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with me and watching my videos. You guys who've been sticking along, watching them from the very beginning, you're definitely greatly appreciated. And that's not to say that anybody who joins, you subscribe and you're following along, you watch my videos, I'm very, very appreciative. This is just something I do for fun. I don't have YouTube monetization. I'm just trying to get myself out there and show people plants and give people ideas of what they could be growing, and try and break a little bit of negative stigmas about certain plants. Like, for instance, I believe these are all hallucinogenic cactus, but I'm not gonna eat them, right? But yeah, like I said, I appreciate you all sticking with me. This is a fun journey for me. I really think that making these videos is it gives me a sense of fulfillment, because I'm documenting the progress and the process of me growing. I can go back, see the mistakes that I've made, see how much plants have grown since the last time. Certain slow growing plants, you don't really get to see that, right? Like, you come in, every single day, and it's like, oh, I haven't really noticed much. So the fact is, I get a video, I can go back, see what things look like 6 months ago, see what things look like a year ago, and from that I can definitely deduce a lot. It's really useful information. Yeah, I hope you guys sorry for the rambling. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Take care, and I wish you all the best.